Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Career Insider episode 2, where today we are going to discuss about creative communications. All right, so our stream will start in 1 or 2 minutes. So what I want all of you who are watching to do is please share our stream out so it can reach out to more and more students. And also remember to like and follow our pages. This stream today, Career Insider Series 2, is brought to you by Study Hub Student Advisory and JS Study Solutions. So if wherever you're watching, please like and follow our page and also share the stream out to our fellow friends out there. And in Career Insider, what we aim to do is we want to dissect each and every industry. So students like you, and if you are in Form 5, after Form 5, after STPM, or after pre-university, you are in the cross junction of choosing the right career for yourself. You know, you can actually learn a lot from all these career sessions. Where today we are going to talk about creative communications. If you are into mass comm, public relations, broadcasting, graphic design, journalism, this is a must-watch stream. So if you have any friends out there who are interested in any of these areas, okay, you should absolutely, okay, share this stream out to all of them. Okay, so last week our stream was hosted by our guest speaker Kenneth. So we were talking about technology and we had really good response. Thank you so much for all of your support. So this week we have another very interesting guest, okay, with us. He is a digital media manager, okay, and Dentsu Aegis, and his name is Fadli Azali. He's a good friend of mine. You know, we used to work together back then, and he has always been a very outstanding person, very creative, and I've always known that he's really good in the communications part of work. And so Fadli is he is managing a team of media people, media specialists, creative specialists in Dentsu Aegis. And Dentsu Aegis, if for the people in the industry, you may of course you heard of them because they are one of the world's most renowned digital media agency. And without further ado, let's welcome Fadli Azali.
Hi, hey
Hi,
Brian.
Fad, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm not too bad actually. How are you doing?
I'm good too. I'm good too. Thank you so much for being here with us, Fad.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Super
Okay,
excited.
so Fad, your profile tells us that you are a digital media manager in Dentsu Aegis, right? Yes, and I also read your profile that you graduated from Cardiff University for your degree and also your postgraduate MBA. You majored in communications too.
Yes, I did my master's degree in Cardiff University, but I did
Okay.
my earlier undergraduate degree in University of South Wales.
I see. I see. Okay. So maybe Fad, what you can do is perhaps you can share a little bit about why did you actually choose communications as a career choice and as a further studies choice. Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Where do I start? I guess for me, a big part of why I chose to go into the communications line is largely due to the fact that when I was 15, 16, 17, I realized that I didn't really have that much talent for, shall we say, like the science subjects, the math subjects,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Like ad maths. I took physics. I took science stream actually.
Okay.
So I did physics, chemistry, bio.
Yeah.
But I realized along the way that I didn't really have a lot of talent or a lot of passion in that area. So when you're not that good at math, uh, you sort of have to explore other things that you might be able to
Mm.
do lah.
Yep.
So that's why I looked around and thought that it was a viable option to go into the communications field. It was a very popular option for a lot of people my age back then,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
it if we weren't really cut out for, like, say, the more professional trades, like more traditional ones, say doctors, lawyers, accountants, architects, industries that have certified boards. Basically. So we went in, we chose to go into this line. So I guess I had a certain perception of it before, but I think it, growing up and over the past 10 years studying and working in this line, it's become sort of I didn't expect it to be this way at all, and I think it's a great line to work in. And I guess
okay. So Fad, you studied in the UK, Cardiff and University of South Wales, right?
Yeah.
How was it like studying in the UK?
It's pretty awesome. I loved all of my time there. I spent 5 years there, actually. I went there in 2011 and came back in 2016. So I did both my undergraduate as well as my postgraduate there. I think the exposure that you get from going abroad is pretty amazing, and it's something that if you do have the chance to take, I think you really should. Not that there's anything wrong with studying locally. I think that's absolutely fine as well. But I think experience-wise, it gives you a lot more a chance to sort of like explore what you like, what you don't like, and expose yourself to some different ideas out there and like some different cultures.
What are the more interesting things that you've done in the UK while you were studying there?
I did a lot of traveling. So I think anyone in my position would do the same. That's pretty normal. Did a lot of traveling. I got to do a lot of fun assignments as well, which was really cool. A lot of practical assignments with a lot of international students, some local from UK, but a lot from other countries as well. So you get to see how they think. You get to see how they how different cultures inspire different ways of thinking, and I think that's something that's really valuable if you get the chance.
That's right.
Having a strong educational structure as well, I think, was really helpful.
Yeah, because I mean the world is flat now, right? Everyone is doing business cross-border, and I mean the early exposure while you were studying is really great. While you get to learn from the West how they think, how they perceive something. I think if any of the students listening out there, if you have an opportunity to further study overseas, I think and you are financially viable, or you have a scholarship, which something like what Fad had, I think you should really take it.
I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. So I was very lucky.
Right. I mean, further studying abroad is like a landed property in Klang Valley. Yeah, the price. It is not a cheap affair. And so let's dive deeper into the communication industries and the studies. What do you basically learn in university for your undergraduate and also your postgraduate for communications? Because I think a lot of students out there are very curious. They are not sure if this is the right thing for them, because when you sign up to a university, they will tell you, these are the course module. You can only look at the course module title. You can't really have a feel of it, or have a trial class. No, there's no such thing, right? But maybe Fadli, you can give us a heads up or a rough idea of what do you actually learn in communications?
Well, at every educational level, you tend to you'll dive deeper into the subject, right? So if you do diploma or A levels, it's more general, and then you go and dive deeper and deeper. So undergrad is fairly broad. I'll tell you that. Like, there's a lot of things that I now that I'm working in the industry, over the past 4 or 5 years, I can see that it's not exactly the same. But I think there's something to be said for the Western education system having a lot of more theory-based education. So they tell you that right off the bat. And I know some people have some views that it should be more practical and hands-on, like Malaysia. So I think that's a good way of approaching it as well. But the way their modules are structured is that they want you to. It's not really catered towards operations. It's more catered towards strategy, overall strategy, which I think is a lot more valuable in the long run.
And also philosophy, perhaps.
Yes, and also philosophy. Yeah. So if you're studying communications over there, there's a heavy emphasis on the theory behind the communication rather than the element of broadcasting it. Of course, there's more practical modules and there's more practical courses as well. You can graduate in bachelor's in radio production, in video production, or in general creative production, if that's what you so choose. I didn't go down that line. I went on the more theoretical line, and they had a lot more. They will focus a lot more on like managing how communication works from one end to the other, from a brand to a consumer. So there's a lot, like I believe that across all of university studies, there's a lot of theory, regardless of the field. But it was for me, it was very heavy on theory. So that's something that I think a lot of people should take into consideration as well. I mean, you know yourself more. There's a lot of reading involved if you go into the non-production communication side. So
yes.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, for the past 7 years, we have met thousands of students, and out from there are quite a number of them who are interested in communication studies. And one of the reasons why they are into communications is they have the misperception where in communication, there's no maths involved. So I choose communications. do you learn any maths back in university in communications?
For my diploma, yes, I did my diploma in English communications. There was a math element at the very end of the course.
Yeah.
They had accounting as one of the modules, which was fairly okay. It's not so bad. Then I didn't have any maths at all for undergraduate, which was awesome. But then masters came around, and because I did my MBA, even though I specialized in media management, and my modules were a lot more focused on media, it was still a business master's degree. So they still had accounting as well as statistics as one of the subjects. So I kind of suffered through that one after not having done any math for like 4 years.
Okay.
Then I had to sit back, get back into the game. So it's pretty tough, but yeah.
Okay. But what I think is if you choose communications because you don't like maths, I think that is not a very good decision to make. Why? Because there are a lot of other things that doesn't involve maths, right? There are things like arts and graphics. There are things linguistic doesn't require math. And there are a lot of other courses. So for students out there, communications requires a certain passion. Okay, in the area of communication, in the area of communications, what really drive you, Fad, to what is the passion and the fire that you had to choose the field of communications?
I've always loved the idea of being able to explain complex things in a very, very simple way, and I think that a big part of our job in the industry is to take one thing and translate it well for the end user.
Right.
So that's one of the driving motivations for me. I mean, am I really, really, really passionate about advertising? Because that's what I do. I work in advertising, in digital advertising. Do I get out of bed every day with a fire to? I have to run these advertisements. I mean, no. The answer would be no. But here's something that I think a lot of, I wish somebody had told me earlier when I was younger, is that sometimes you think that you have a passion, and then you explore that area, and then you like it, and then you sort of make a career out of it. If that's your path that you happen to take, that's perfect. That's great, good for you. But for some people like me, I tried to do a lot of different things at different times. I mean, we've known each other for a while, Brian. So you know that I've done a few different things over the years before and after I met you. So there's a lot to be said for starting to do something, understanding it, knowing what you do well, and then from there you grow that into a passion.
Because I remember. You lectured quite a bit back then when you first came back from the UK. Yeah,
I did a little bit of lecturing. I did a lot of freelance writing even when I was in the UK. I was doing a lot of freelance writing. So I tried a lot of different things, but you don't, sometimes you don't really know that you like that thing until you try and do it first, and then you take some pride in it, and then it sort of becomes a fire. You want to be good at what you do.
I mean, Fad, you have been in the comms industry. I mean, teaching aside, I think you were teaching for a year or so, right?
Almost a year for almost a year for a college in Subang Jaya.
Yep, a well-known college in Subang Jaya. Right.
Anyway, I didn't know. Yeah.
Sorry. What is that?
Yeah, it's an unknown, unnamed college somewhere in SS15.
Right, it's an international college. Yeah, that is right. Yes, but I mean, back then, when you were studying comms, I think the comms industry was really, really different, right? And what happens today, and students study comm, is going to be very different as well, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
So maybe Fad, you can briefly explain to us what is the main drastic difference that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah. When I graduated from high school, from Sekolah Menengah, there were no positions called digital marketing manager, social media executive, social media manager. None of these things existed. Even, I mean, web dev at the time was still new. Like, we were like in the very infancy of the industry. I never heard of the job that I have now. So it's not like, I grew up thinking, I want to be a pilot or I want to be a doctor. The job that I have now, or the job that I've been doing for the past few years, didn't exist at all straight out of SPM.
Yeah.
So there was no info on it. There was no gauge. Like, is there money in this? Is there, can it be sustainable long term? Is it something that's gonna, is it a real career? So I didn't have that guidance at all, and it's not because of anyone's fault, because nobody knew that Facebook would be Facebook, and the whole boom. Like, it's all like nobody could predict that. So that's a huge difference between then and now. So I don't know what I'm not, because I'm not in academia anymore. I don't really have an idea as to how they are shaping the students to prepare them for a career in this field.
That's right.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's really tough, isn't it? Because back in the days, I mean, we are the same age, right? Back in the days when we were deciding to further study, our main social media in Malaysia was, I would say, Friendster,
MySpace,
Lawyat Forum,
Forum, I guess.
Right. And I read the newspaper every day. I go to sports section to get whether MU is losing or not. Yeah. or this kind of news.
That was a real thing. Like, you had to wait till the next day and get yesterday's newspaper to actually check the results. So that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't that long ago, actually.
Yeah. Now there are people who are paid to update the score online. Right. So that's amazing.
That's right. I mean, it's going to be so challenging, you see, because what you go through will also be experienced by students today. When you graduate, and your jobs may not be the same as what you have listened today, is it?
Yes, it's a real possibility.
Fad's expertise is in digital media, right? And maybe the digital media you see in the future is not going to be the same as the digital media you see today. Right now, we're talking about, oh, Facebook is the next big thing, Instagram is the next big thing. It's already the big thing, right? But yeah, we never know what's the future, and it is, it's up to us to brace for it for communication graduates, because the world is moving so fast, you see, right? So, but I mean, you are you're working in digital media today, right? And you manage your clients, and you are working in one of the international firms on digital media. Yeah. What do you do? Yeah. So like what do you do? Do you buy ads every day?
Okay.
Or face,
That's actually a brilliant question.
Yeah.
What does a digital media manager do?
Yeah.
So first of all, I think just to lay some groundwork to make it easier to understand my job, not that it's too complicated, but just to give a 101 breakdown. So when we talk about digital media, and when we talk about advertising online on the digital platform, you have basically two main arms to it. There's more, but just for the purposes of this discussion, I'm just going to use that example. So you have the creative arm, and you also have the media arm. So the creative arm is exactly as its name. They create, right? So you have to create something. If you want to do an advertisement, you have to create it, right? So you have to create something. So the creatives do that. And then you have the media managers, the digital media people. So these guys are the guys that buy the ad inventory online to whoever might be selling ad inventory. For example, Facebook, the ads that you see on Google, the ads that you see on Instagram, the ads that you see on the little banners on the websites that you get when you scroll, the ones that you hate.
Those AdSense,
those little 5-second, 6-second bumper ads that you can't skip when you're watching YouTube. Yeah. So the media people are the people that talk to YouTube and say, hey, I would like to buy some ad space on your platform. Can you please do that? How much does it cost for you to serve my ad to one person? So the media people will work out that side, but you need both hands. So once you have a creative, I don't know whether it's video or a visual or whatever it is, then you give that creative to the media people, and then they'll run it as an ad, as the intermediary party between the client and the advertising platform. Right. So now that we've established that, over the course of the past few years, I've managed both. I've managed clients for creative projects as well as for media projects, and I'm currently doing both for a brand in FI at the moment. So that's basically what I do. In a nutshell, me, my colleagues, my team, we help the brand publish ads, the ads that you see on digital platforms. That's like as easy as it can be.
I think it's also applicable to traditional media, isn't it? I mean, there's creative and there is media. The creative side of things does things visually. The color they use, the placement.
The graphic designers, the video editors, the copywriters.
That's right.
Yeah.
The people who write, the people who design.
They're brilliant. They are the brains behind the Raya commercials that we love, like the Petronas ones. Yeah. So the creative people are the geniuses that come up with those videos, and then the media people are the suit and tie people that goes to Astro or Media Prima, TV3, and they say, hey, we want to run this Raya advertisement on your channel. How much is it going to cost us? So that's both sides of it.
That's right. So before we continue talking to Fad, for those who are watching right now, this is Career Insider episode 2. We are speaking about creative communication careers. So if you really like what we are speaking, we wish you to share the stream out to the groups to show more students, to show more young people out there on what creative communication careers are. And if you have any questions we'll do, you can actually leave a question down at the comment section. We will try to answer each and every one of them. All right. So, Fad, what we are experiencing right now, MCO, right? And it's heavily disrupting everything, including the media industry, isn't it? Do you think traditional media is dead?
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think why I asked that question is because in the future, or for students who are about to graduate soon, looking for a job, they want to go to an industry where it is a long-term industry where they can grow on it, and the industry is not cutting people every year. You see, what's your take on traditional media? Did I put you in a difficult spot, Fad?
A little bit, because I from time to time we get involved with traditional media as well. So I don't think I can say, or anyone in fact can say for sure, that traditional media is dead. But perhaps it needs a revamp, or the older channels will give way to innovation, because at the end of the day, usually what drives these decisions, or what drives technology, is the economy, right? So if the money makes sense for the technology to change, then eventually the technology will change, which is why, like if you take MCO, for example, like that's a brilliant example, right? We can talk about MCO for a second. So a lot of money is spent on in traditional media on things like billboards, right? So during MCO, who's driving past the billboards? No one's driving past. So I'm not going to spend money. If I was planning to have a billboard up at some point in March, I would definitely postpone that or cancel that. Or if I was to advertise on radio stations, nobody's driving to work nowadays, right? So we don't really have any avenue for collecting revenue in that sense. So brochures and things like that, people aren't out and about. So what does that mean? What do you do when you're at home? When you got nothing else to do and you're just stuck in one place? You're gonna be on your phone, right? Or you're gonna be on your laptop. You're gonna be on YouTube, on Netflix, TikTok, whatever digital activity that you do. So we work a lot with companies like Google and Facebook. So Google will tell us every now and again, like, hey, here's what's trending, and here's the spike in number of searches for certain content, right, on YouTube. And you see that the number of hours consumed is a lot more than the pre-MCO period.
For sure, everyone is at home, right?
What that means is more Malaysians are collectively watching YouTube and spending more time online. So if I'm a brand, I'm not going to invest my money in traditional media right now, because it doesn't make any sense, because I'm not going to get a return on my investment. So I'm going to invest in the channels where I know for a fact that people will be actively using, which is Facebook and Google and Yahoo and email and those kinds of platforms.
That's right. And speaking about traditional media, I think it's not that. I agree. I completely agree with what you say. It needs innovation, and the thing about traditional media is they are really expensive. They are big and bulky. They're really expensive. Unlike in digital marketing, and the things that you do, right? Where you can set your budget to 100 ringgit, 200 ringgit, and you can manage from there. But a billboard in a prime location is up to 100,000 ringgit a month, and you can't put a billboard up for a day because of the printing costs, the workmanship.
There's definitely a minimum buy-in for billboards. So and you can't, like, traditional media doesn't offer insights. So that's an amazing thing, right? So I can't, if I have a billboard, I can tell my clients, or I can report some numbers like, hey, every day 200,000 people will drive past your billboard and they will see your ad. But I can't attribute how my increase in sales to that billboard. I mean, there's no direct correlation, does not equal causation. However, if I run digital ads, I know exactly how many people saw it, and out of how many people saw it, how many people clicked on it, and of how many people clicked on it, how many people dropped their leads or take an action that I want them to take. Download an app, or fill in a form, or any call to action that I want them to take, or go to a website or something like that. So I have all of this data that I don't get at all from traditional media.
That's right.
So like with digital media, if I show you a video, a 1 minute video of like milk powder, okay, I know that if you watch the whole 1 minute, you're interested in the product. So I can therefore at a later time in the future maybe serve you an ad for another baby related product. So that's the beauty of having that data. I can't do any of that with traditional media.
Yeah.
I can't do any of that with billboards.
The only way is to post another newspaper ad or magazine ad, which you're not sure how many people actually spend time or have interest in your ads.
An industry, like a secret that nobody really wants to admit or nobody really wants to talk about, is that we love ads. Like really, us consumers, we love ads. It's just we hate ads that we don't like, which is ads that are not related to us. So a big part of my job is to make sure that the ads that get served to you are served to people who actually want to see them. So if you're a fan of motorcycles, then I know that you're highly likely interested in this particular motorcycle related product, right? So I'm not going to serve a fishing related advertisement to like a mother with 5 children, because it's not, it doesn't make that much sense.
Yes. So, the demographics, right?
Yes, the demographics. So
that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is communications. A lot of you may think communications is all about design. It's all about storytelling. Yes, it's part of that as well. But communications is a lot about business, a lot about numbers as well, in a way, because I'm pretty sure you look into a lot of your cost per impression, cost per click. You crunch a lot of numbers in that sense as well, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of those metrics that you can control and sort of like use that info so that your money works better for you. It's not as rigid as like radio or as newspapers, and I can change it on a whim, on the fly. I can pause a certain set of ads. I can revise the caption. If I make a typo in my newspaper advertisement and it's gone to print, that's it.
It's gone, man.
It's done. If you forget something. So there's a lot of benefits to going on the digital channels.
That's right. That's right. It's very agile. You can switch it.
So it comes with both. It's a good and bad thing because on the creative side, because I manage the creatives as well, you have a lot of issues where there's not enough, like, because it's digital. So if the clients want to change something very quickly, like, hey, can we change the visual of this girl to that girl, because we don't think that the initial girl is driving clicks, right? So we have to as a team, we have to oversee the revision, the creative revision as well. And because it's all digital, nothing needs to be printed, and approvals can be given over email, maybe over WhatsApp. If you have that kind of relationship with your clients, you can. It's a sort of always on thing where it's a fast-paced industry. People work nights. It's very common in the industry, but there's also a real sense of ownership and camaraderie as well, because you get through it with your team and you win battles basically and get the job done.
That's right. The sense of achievement is there, right?
It's amazing when you have a creative campaign that pulls off really nicely.
Yes, I can imagine that. When you see the numbers going up, you see your clients happy, you see highly effective ad campaigns are changing lives and changing, the way people live, changing the way how a person perceive a brand, and receive a lot of creative ads out there that are, making a hit right now. And Fad, we actually have a live question from one of our listeners.
Okay.
So question from Lian Gun. Her question is there a demand for public relations in Malaysia? Is the industry growing and worth pursuing? So, Lian, perhaps you can share with us a little bit more. Are you a Form 5 student or you just completed your SPM? Where are you right now? So we get a better idea of you too. Yeah. So, Fad, what do you think? PR. We did not mention a lot on PR,
No,
perhaps.
not
Yeah.
yet. Actually, Leanne, that's a brilliant question. And the short answer is yes, there is a very big demand for public relations, because public relations, any brand that exists out there, if it's worth its salt, if it has any big value to lose, they will have a public relations department, because
Okay.
public relations, no matter what you do in your well, no matter what industry you're in or what service line you're in, be it telcos, constructions, you're gonna have people that don't like your product, or something will go wrong at some point. So
Yeah.
you need to have teams in place there who are ready to take
The
care.
damage controllers.
Yeah,
they call it.
damage control, but that's sort of like more reactive. You can also be more proactive and
Yep.
establish relationships with clients, establish your brand face with your actual existing clients. That is always going to be a major need, because as long as a company is public facing and has face to lose, there'll always be a need for a PR department. So I know a lot of people that work in PR as well. It's a really fun gig, but it can also be pretty challenging.
That's right.
From PR agents of government officials all the way to corporate brands.
That's right.
Who I've met before. Seems to be a very interesting line.
Yeah.
You get to meet a lot of like celebrities, or you get to go to a lot of nice events. So
Yes.
if you
You'll
like
be
to eat
invited
at
to nice
hotels,
events.
yeah, if you like to eat at hotels and get free gifts and things like that, give free gifts. It's sort of
those are the perks you get for being in the job, right? Because a company's branding perception is so important, which is why I also feel that PR is evolving, right, in a way where it used to be very valuable for a PR person to really, they need to know each and everyone within the newspaper industry, the main media companies, right? So they need to push news out, they need to push write-ups out, right? And when as the industry evolves, when less and less readers read newspaper, then the PR's role also evolves. Instead of spending so much time with the newspaper reporters, the journalists, and now what are the other media platforms that they need to be on? You see,
Yeah. So
Because-
if I would say if you have a talent for working with people, like talking to people and managing relationships, people think that it's a small thing. Trust me, I've seen enough to know that it's really not a small thing. A lot of companies pay a lot of money for people that manage relationships well, because when you manage relationships well, it ensures business continues and to come in, and your cash flow is protected. So
yeah. Okay, Fad, we actually have another question from another live listener. Okay. It's a Mandarin name. Sorry if I read your name wrong. Wen Han.
Wen Han.
Hi Wen Han. How are you? Her question is undergraduate journalism course suggested to study in UK? What's your take?
I actually have quite a few friends who did journalism in J school in the UK. I think if journalism is one of those industries where you really have to have a passion for what you're doing, because it's a lot of work, but it's also really rewarding as well when you progress in your career and you break stories and you make a name for yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think it's a great course to study. I heavily considered doing journalism as well at some point because
I mean,
do a lot of,
considering you freelance writing,
yes,
you did freelance writing in the UK, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So when I was doing that, even when I was still studying, but none of it was really for journalism pieces,
Mm-hmm.
not really for news, more for articles or for advertising.
Okay.
But I would say journalism, it's a passion-based industry. So if you're really into that line, I think you'll fare quite well.
Yeah, I mean, further studying journalism in the UK, not a problem at all, because there are a lot of colleges in Malaysia. You know, when they first established their communications course is twinning. They do it the twinning program to the UK as well, and part of it is journalism. So to answer your question, UK is a very viable place to study. It's still a viable place to study, even though with all the Brexit thing happening and the COVID-19 issue happening now. I mean, education doesn't change, right? It's the age of the universities are still there. You see, most of the universities in the UK are above 100 years old, and they have a culture of quality education. So it depends on whether is journalism what you want to do. Yeah. Because do not complicate yourself from I love writing to I want to do journalism. I think that's two different things, because journalism, if you want to pursue a career in journalism, you're working with the media companies, you're working with communications company, which we will discuss with Fad a little bit in to find out how is it like working in the media companies. Yeah, what are the perks like, Fad? We are really interested to know. I are the pay well? Is the pay well? Are you flexible? Can you leave office by 5? Can you reach office by 10? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a tricky question. Okay, basically, if you're in this line, you're usually either in working for an agency, which is basically a vendor, or you are on the client side. So it's usually these are the two main sides that we usually talk about. So if you're on the client side, it's highly likely that you'll join their marketing team, whether it's in digital marketing or traditional marketing. You'll be working with their product teams, their brand teams, their compliance teams. But you're basically the guys that control the face of the brand, right? So in order for you to carry out all of these duties and carry out the message of the brand, you employ the help of a media agency, right? So the media agency will help you come up with your creative ideas. They'll provide you with graphic designers, video editors, audio recorders, story writers, article writers, copywriters, and also handle the media side, the buying of the media inventory. So the real question that you want to know is, does working in a communications agency pay well?
Yeah. Because I represent all the audiences here today, because they are listening and they are interested in knowing more about this career, and they really need to know, is it a viable option for them, and do they get the return of investment for further studying in this field?
Yeah. Okay. I'll put it this way: it's an industry that if you join, you have two choices, right? Like I mentioned, you have you can join on the client side at first, or you can do or you can join a media agency side. Okay, so there's pros and cons. So on the client side, you get a very good work-life balance usually. Okay, I'm being general here. I don't know if other people are going to watch the stream and say, hey, I work for a client side. It's not like that. I'm sorry if that's not your experience, but
you're generalizing.
Just generalizing.
You're immune. It's fine.
Just in case, just putting that out there. Okay, so generally you have a more balanced work-life balance. You generally get more 9 to 5. You have more power because you brief you give your brief to the agency, and the agency will carry it out. So in a way, you have a coolie, so it's not going to be you that's doing the execution for the most part.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So you get all these perks, and a lot of corporate side gives a lot of bonuses. Some give quarterly bonuses. Some give 13 months bonus, but usually client side will always have bonus.
Wow.
But the drawback is you have lesser increment every year, right? So you'll probably, like a 5% increment is considered pretty okay in the client side, 5 to 10% year on year. Okay, so if you are on the media agency side, you probably will start out at I'll mention some numbers in a bit, but you'll probably start out at a lower figure. But within a year, you have an exponential potential to grow, like really a lot. Within the first year, you can climb up your wage brackets very easily, because I've seen it happen time and again to people around me very, very quickly. You get pretty big increments on the agency side. Basically, we hear numbers of around 15 to 20% year on year, rather than 5 to 10%. So that's a fairly good deal. But the trade-off is you don't really have bonuses for managerial level and below. There's also a working culture where you can work. You may have to work longer hours during some peak periods. So it's kind of like accepted and comes with the job, but they compensate you fairly okay, right? So if you want to hear some numbers, again, correct me, like people out there can correct me if I'm wrong, just, if ever I'm gonna get flamed for this, but I've seen people joining media agencies that start at 2.5 and become 3.5 within a year, right? And then after they finish their second year, basically they're on four grand. Okay. I've seen people make jumps, and the increments when you jump is also closer to 30%. So I've seen people jump from a 4K salary to a 5.5K salary within a single move. Increments, like I also mentioned, is a lot, right? So on the corporate side, probably you'll start off around the same, 2.8, 2.5, 3 maybe, but your increment will be fairly small. But you'll get your bonuses, and there's a lot of additional perks. Maybe things like free parking, which can be quite expensive.
But I've also heard that agencies hire slow and fire fast, because there are people who won't fit in the agency culture, right? And they wouldn't last with more than a year. And then
right off the bat, I'll tell you, not everyone is cut out for this line. It's not going to appeal to everyone out there, especially if you prefer a more 9 to 5 kind of lifestyle. It's not really that. You'll highly likely do some odd hours, but the trade-off is that the pay is not so bad. It's pretty good. And B, there's a different sense of, like I mentioned before, like a different sense of camaraderie, brotherhood with your team when you pull these projects off. And I feel that's sort of like a job satisfaction that it's not I mean, for me it's something that I value a lot.
And I believe Fad right now it is a peak period, because everyone is rushing the message out for Raya. Am I right?
Yeah, so I'm right now, we're in the middle of getting out our Ramadan and Raya campaigns, trying to get people to sign up for our products related to Raya promotions. So of course it's hectic. Every day we get emails of, hey, you need to change this photo of this woman, or hey, you need to put that banner a little bit lower or a little bit higher on the website because it doesn't look nice. So I mean, it's pretty much rush hour right now, but it's not so bad. It's only a few times a year, right? Chinese New Year, Raya, Merdeka, Deepavali.
The standard view.
The standard. So these are the main peak periods.
Are you also working on some touching Raya videos like what we used to see from the late Yasmin Ahmad?
Uh, Yasmin Ahmad was with Leo Burnett, by the way, which is one of the
Okay.
biggest agencies around. Yeah, so she's been with them. She was with them for a really long time. There's a big portrait of her at the Leo Burnett office, which I think is very sweet.
Okay.
So this year I'm not working on any touching Raya videos, but I had a bit of my fair share of experience with other brands over the past few years of doing touching videos. So sometimes we get to do really cool stuff when the client is like really ons, like for another FI client a couple of years back, we got to do like a whole 360 video. And you sort of had to find something in the video, so it was also a contest. So once you found that thing, you could submit your answer, and then we got like 600, 700, 800 different answers, different like contest submissions. So I mean, because it was a really cool campaign. So I mean, when you have like these awesome creative teams who come up with these crazy ideas, these are the guys that go to work in like t-shirts, caps, shorts, sneakers, because they don't have to see the client, right? But they have to be really good at what they do, which is come up with awesome ideas, and it makes it a lot easier for managers like me to sell those ideas to the client. So
That's right. And I believe that not only companies needs to hire comm agencies, right? What about political parties?
Yes, definitely. Political parties have realized the importance of having digital teams a long time ago. It started actually way back then with Barack Obama. Actually, it's not that far back. It's about 12 years ago, 2008. He became known. He became known as like the first Facebook president, basically the first president that got elected, largely due to the power of social media.
Right.
And then we experienced another revolution 8 years later with President Trump. So I'm not going to comment on any politics or anything like that. But if speaking from a digital media perspective, the strategy deployed by Trump's team was ultimately successful. It was a totally different approach than we saw any politician use over the past 10, 15 years of the existence of social media. We've never seen anything like it, where politicians become so bare and so like raw on their
with no sense of diplomacy,
with very little censorship, but it worked. I mean, the psychology behind it probably will be arguing that for the next 100 years on how exactly and why it worked, but it did work. Hence showing that these specialized digital teams are extremely valuable in order to serve a KPI.
Right.
We can see that in local politics as well. Again, not going to comment on actual political landscape, but the usage of social media has gotten very, very rampant. You see a lot more politicians talk on social media the way that you would never have imagined them to talk just 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You would have never expected them to make certain statements or use certain tones or even use certain words or phrases on social media, but they do, because apparently that's what works in getting attention nowadays. So all of these political personalities highly likely have resources that are allocated to managing their digital profile. So it's a very important thing. I mean, again, I don't want to get too much into it.
I mean, I was just watching, I was just reading, scrolling through a high-profile politician, a formerly very powerful politician. I thought I was reading 9gag, or Reddit, like the way they post things, the memes, and I guess whatever works, right?
Politicians sometimes have pretty big budgets for this because it sways. I mean, it influences public opinion, right? And
Right.
we, like it or not, that concept works. I mean, it's proven because I know we didn't get to talk about it too much earlier, but a big part of my job is also dealing with what we call KOLs in the industry, key opinion leaders. To the public, call them influencers, right? So we deal with a lot of influencers on Instagram, on Facebook, and sometimes we use them as talents for our videos. So there's a big part of influencers involved as well. So they help to, I mean, if you buy a product because an influencer recommended it to you, that's
You're more likely to buy it.
You're more likely to buy it. Highly likely you will buy it if the influencer is someone who is very, very close to your values, if you really identify with them. Even if you don't buy it, I'll definitely be able to trigger some sort of buying consideration in you. You might not buy it right now, but later down the line, you might make that association. So there's a lot of that psychology going on. So if you can be influenced by someone that you look up to on social media who tells you to buy something and you consider it, what makes you think that your opinions on political landscape can't be changed with influential people saying a few things out there? So, the actual scale of impact that this will have on everyone, on the country as a whole, nobody can really predict. But one thing is for sure is that this industry is not going away anytime soon. I'm very confident in saying that, given my recent experience in the field and where the industry seems to be heading. So again, I'm not saying that that other industries are not as relevant. Of course they are, but if you choose to go into this line, there's so much that you can do. If you have some sort of like interest in it, like you don't have, if you're not like me, if you don't like to deal with numbers, and if you don't like to deal with clients for buying media inventory, maybe you like art, maybe you like creating graphics, maybe you like video editing, maybe you like to take photos, maybe you like photo editing, maybe you like to write creative concepts, maybe you're really good with coming up with content ideas, right? So there's a lot of different arms that you can explore in this particular industry. So that's sort of the thought that I wanted to leave in terms of a career in the creative communication line. That's
right. I mean, what you said was really true, because all the traditional media and also the creative communication, digital media, mixing things together right now. We are spending lesser in traditional media, but probably digital media, we are spending so much time in it, and it balances things out. So we have a question from Iman, actually, Fad. And his question was one of the things that we actually discussed earlier in our conversation today, Iman. Thank you for the question. I'm just wondering, Iman, are you a student? Oh, yeah. So if you're a student, just let us know. Okay. So is traditional marketing dying? What did I mean, Fad? We discussed about it just now. Traditional media.
Yeah, we did discuss it at length.
Yeah. I mean, it's not dying. Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's dead, but like we discussed earlier, it has to go through some sort of overhaul if it was going to survive.
That's right.
I can speak from experience when I say that we have insights to show that year on year, client spending on traditional media is decreasing almost at an exponential rate. Okay, not a small percentage, but exponential rate.
Yeah.
And more of clients' budgets are going into the digital media industry, because that's where 90% of us choose to spend our leisure time nowadays, especially in like MCO. We can't go anywhere. So, you're going to be stuck in front of a screen. So that's where I'm going to try and hit you hard. Right? So
that's right.
It's not, I mean, we've talked a lot about what the line that I work in, like advertising, but digital media isn't limited to advertising only. Okay. The people that make your Netflix shows, they're in digital media as well.
Yeah.
So content creation, all right, that's in media as well.
That's
so it's really the amount of different nooks and crannies, like different niche areas that you can explore in communications is insane.
I mean, Fad, what you are working in is just one dimension of communications career, right? Or perhaps it's very popular in Malaysia because there are a lot of big comms company out there, marketing agencies, ad buyers, ad planners, content writing companies. I mean, for what you say is true. There's so many things out there that you can probably explore in digital media. And even there's a business in politics as well for communications. Just imagine that, right? And I'm pretty sure political parties also hire comms agencies, isn't it?
I'm just gonna say yes.
All right, thank you so much for having us for having you here today, spending 60 minutes with us, just chit chatting about creative communications career, sharing your insights, your experience with us. Yeah, it's been very valuable. I felt what we discussed here today could be shared to a lot of people, and if anyone have the time of 60 minutes, if they finish watching this whole thing, I'm pretty sure they have a pretty clear insight of what creative communication careers are. So before we end our session today, Fad, I'd like to play a simple game with you. Are you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right, Fad. So this is a quick fire Q&A question. I curated a set of questions just for you, and what you must do is after I ask the question, you must answer immediately. Okay, without doubting.
All right. Okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. And first question: Firefox or Chrome?
Chrome.
Windows or Mac?
Windows, but I do love Mac, but Windows.
iOS or Android?
Android.
Of course, you're the OnePlus gang, right? Favorite gadget?
Favorite gadget, my phone.
Okay. Favorite website? Be careful.
Paul Tan.
Oh, okay. Cars. Okay. The proudest campaign you have ever launched?
Raya campaign for CIMB previously. I won't say which year, but yeah.
Okay. Do you prefer to work from home or work from office?
Work from office, actually. You would think that it would be work from home. I think I got too. It's been too much of work from home now. I gotta go back to this.
I agree. There is not a pause, right? Working from home.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the moment you sit down, the home is office, office is home, and then you get mixed up and you work longer hours. Yeah.
And there's sort of this misconception that because you're at home, you can do it. So it's like, oh, you're at home, right? So okay. Because back then, before MCO, you could be like, people would be like, oh, I didn't know if you were out or if you were having dinner, but now they know.
I'm in a traffic jam, lah.
Now they know where you
You're
are.
in a traffic jam in MCO. Okay, last one.
Okay.
Paid well but not happy, or paid poorly but very happy.
Paid well but unhappy. You gotta have money, kids. You really gotta make that money.
All right, the dough is more important. Okay.
You can cry in your Ferrari later. It's okay. You can cry, but it's nicer to cry in a nice car.
All right, thank you so much, Fad. It's been really insightful. Do you have any last, final advice for students out there?
Yeah. I'll just make this a quick one, but I think it's not exactly related to your studies, but I think it's something that I wish someone told me when I was graduating from SPM. I felt really dumb back then because I took science stream and all of my science stream subjects were, barely passed. I don't know how. It was a miracle that I actually passed ad math and physics. bio was all right. So I doubted myself for a really long time. I thought that I wouldn't be able to get even into a local college, and I had a lot of issues with self-confidence mainly because I wasn't great at the subjects that you were supposed to be good at to be considered smart.
Yep.
But having gone through like 12 years later, after 12, 13 years after SPM, and I never thought that I would get to study where I did. I never thought that I get to spend 5 years abroad and have that experience. And I never thought that I'd be working as what I'm working now, and I really like my job. So it's just the start. Like after SPM, it's just a start. You get some time to figure out what you want to do. If you're not great at the hard traditional professional courses, this is a great alternative to consider. If you fancy yourself as being creative, if you fancy yourself as someone who has talents in making other people laugh, or you're good with people, or you can draw, you can design, you can edit, or you like to create stuff and share that with the world, this is a very viable industry. There is no major concern about the industry dying anytime soon. In fact, we are still very much at the birth. So there's as more brands will start to exist over the next decade or so, and as more people, as the economy recovers, the industry will need way more workforce, right? They'll need way more people in this line. So if you're prepared, it doesn't matter where you choose to study later on. If you get to go abroad, that's great. If you get to study locally, that's also a great option. If you really work hard at your craft, you have a good portfolio, you'll get an edge over everyone else. And everyone else traditionally is looking at the traditional courses right now, right? My mom also wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, or at the very least an architect, like something around those hard trade traditional courses. I know that a lot of you have been pushed into that line. If that's your thing, great, absolutely fine. If it's not, this is another option that you can consider. So nobody told me that when I was younger. Like nobody told me that after SPM, and I'm glad that I got to where I am now. So I'm telling you guys that if you're willing to listen. So that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you so much, Fad. I mean, that is very valuable advice to every student out there. Yeah. So that is also why we do Career Insider. If you watched the video we played earlier, if you were one of our earlier audience just now and you stuck through for the whole live session, we played a video earlier. We showed students going to visit media companies, TV stations, RTM, Astro, Media Prima. That's what we have been doing in Study Hub, right? And right now in this MCO, children can't even go to school. Yeah. So which is why we have this Career Insider program to try to bring different industry experts in to share more insights with the students. Instead of going out, which is not very safe now. And I'm really glad our audiences have been awesome so far. Our supporters have been awesome so far. And thank you so much for your time, Fad, for spending this wonderful 65-70 minutes with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for our stream for today. If you like what you are watching, please make sure to follow our pages, Study Hub Student Advisory and JS Study Solutions. Make sure to share this stream out. Okay, so more students who are interested in maybe writing, maybe communications, they think they are pretty good in graphic designs, and they're wondering what are the future careers that are available out there. Show them this video. Maybe this gives them a little bit of an idea. All right, and have a good night, everyone.